Today is Tuesday, October the 27th. I am your host, KC Phoenix, and this is my daily thought, and I'm taking a sip of my lemon water. Okay, I literally just put the lemon juice in my lemon water, which, by the way, I bought like 6 things of lemon juice, too. I bought the big things. If it was closer, I'd show it to you. But I bought the big, they're like this big. They're about this high, but the really thick ones, or whatever, large in diameter. So I bought 3 of those, and then I bought 3 of the regular ones, which they're pretty much like this in diameter, but they come up to about right here. So yeah, I had bought those because I was close to running out of lemon juice, and I was like, I don't have any lemon juice. And I've been drinking it a lot lately. So I was just like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to buy a lot of lemon juice so I don't have to think about it. Because I don't like running out of things. So usually I'll buy extra. So I'll have it. Oh yeah, social media, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. There you can listen to all of the episodes of Keeping It Real with KC, which is a weekend show. And the supplement to that, which is this, My Daily Thought. So you have that, KIRWKC on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook.com/KIRWKC. If you're watching this on YouTube or Daily Motion, feel free to hit the subscribe button followed by the notification bell for YouTube. Yeah, today's been pretty good. My sinuses have not been giving me that much trouble today. And I'm really happy about that. Also, I spoke to my mother today, too. Because I called her. I got to take another sip of my lemon juice. Give me a second. I called her. And, well, actually, no. Take that back. See? Recall. See, I was talking about memory yesterday. Recall. She called me today because I had sent her gifts because her birthday is this week. And I sent her gifts, and I told her, I was like, well, I sent you a bunch of stuff. So the gifts are probably going to come on different days because I couldn't get it all lumped together. So what I did was I just sent everything off. Or, well, I didn't send it off. I clicked a few buttons and they sent it off. But they came, a lot of them came yesterday. And then some more came today. And there's still some more on the way that's coming to her. And she was like, well, all this stuff is piling up. Let me just go ahead and start opening the stuff now. So, a lot of them were gag gifts, which one mug had said, no matter what life throws at you, at least you don't have ugly children. It's a gag gift, so people don't get in your feelings about that. It's a joke. Even though my brother and I were easy on the eyes, at least so we're told. Let's see. And then the other gift was, Dear Mom, it was another mug. It was like, Dear Mom, thanks for putting up with my shit. Oh yeah, sorry, I curse so much. Or something. It said, and then it says, love, your favorite. And then I sent her some socks as well. The socks both said the same thing, but it was 2 different brands because since they're gag gifts, and I was telling her that on the phone, I didn't know what quality of socks they would be because usually with gag gifts, they're meant to be funny, so the quality of the gift isn't always that great. So that's why I picked 2 of them saying the same thing, but different types. But she said the quality on one of them was really, really good. She said really, really good quality for a gag gift. But on the bottom of the socks, it says, if you can read this, bring me some wine. Because my mother loves to drink wine. And she knows the difference. Like she's, I guess, what you would call a wine connoisseur. Where if you go to a restaurant and she gets ready to order wine, she can taste the difference. And say, because we went one time to a restaurant. I forgot where it was at. Hold on. My eyes itch. I gotta put some hand sanitizer on my hands. For those who are watching, those who are listening, you can't even see this going on. You can probably hear me doing it, but you can't see it. But we went to a restaurant and she tasted the wine and she was told that it was something. And she's like, no, this is something else. And then the waiter went back and checked and found out that my mother was correct about the wine. So, because she drinks wine all the time. So yeah, that's why I got her those socks. If you can read this, bring me some wine. So I got her that. Also, those arrived yesterday. Those gifts arrived yesterday. Today, a box with 24 roses in it arrived with a glass vase, and she sent me a picture and did that. And she said she loved the roses and she wanted to make sure that it was me that sent them because I didn't add a tag to anything. I just said, you're going to be receiving a bunch of stuff. Be on the lookout. So she was like, were you the one who sent the roses? I'm like, it was 24, right? And she said, yeah. I was like, yeah, that's me. So now something else is in transit on its way to my mother, and hopefully she should have it by Friday, is what I'm hoping, or earlier, depending on how things go. I haven't checked. I haven't tracked the package. But yeah, so I had a conversation with her about that briefly. And then, of course, I did my regular thing today. And then on my lunch, I watched an episode of Vampire Diaries, which is crazy because with Vampire Diaries, when I was talking about memory yesterday with being able to recall stuff, now that I'm starting back watching this again, there are so many things I'm like, oh yeah, because I forgot all about Elena's brother. I totally forgot. As soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh yeah, she did have a brother. And then it's just other little things too. So I'm on episode 5 or maybe 8, I think, give or take. I'm right where Damon just, for those who have not seen Vampire Diaries, spoiler alert, I'm right where Damon just killed Lexi. And Stefan and Damon got into a fight. And Bonnie's just now finding out how to use her powers and holding on to the amulet that she got from Caroline, which Caroline got from Damon. But now Damon wants it back and couldn't get it from Bonnie. And Damon asked Caroline to get the necklace back, and Bonnie wouldn't give the necklace back because Bonnie's grandmother said, don't give the necklace back. That necklace runs in the family, and showed her all the pictures and all this stuff, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And while I eat dinner tonight, I'll probably watch another episode while I'm eating, because that's usually the only time I watch TV. If anything outside of that, I'm usually working, whether I'm working on this, creating content, working on content, or doing administrative stuff related to the content, or I'm working my regular job. So that's where I'm at on that. And now I'm recording this. And as the title says, don't try to guilt me. Don't try to guilt me. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. And if you're watching this, don't try to guilt people. So, you know, one thing that I've learned is that people have this thing. I'm about to take another sip. Okay. People have this thing called free will. Free will is where you have the choice to do what you want to do. Whether you realize it or not, there's always a choice. Now, with choices come consequences. For every action, there is a reaction. But you still have a choice. And when it comes to guilting someone, it's because someone doesn't agree with your free will. I'll give you an example. Let's say someone wants you to pick them up and take them I don't know, to the store or something. They don't have a car. I'm just throwing something out there. They don't have a car. And they're like, oh, I need for you to pick me up, and you have free will. You can say, okay, I'll be there around 2, be ready. Or you could say, no, I have other things to do, or no, you don't know how to give people gas money, or whatever. That's your free will. If you say no, they can't say, well, they can, because they also have free will too. They can say whatever they want to say. But it isn't fair in my eyes, and this is just an opinion, not a judgment. And if you don't know judging versus opinion in my eyes, then go back to the daily thought on judging versus opinion and listen to that. I'm not going to dig into that right now. But it's not fair in my eyes for them to then come out and be like, well, you know that I don't have a car, and then give this laundry list of stuff when you have free will. It isn't something that people really respect when it comes to others' free will. Just like if your parents ask you to do something, you have a choice. You can say, yeah, I'll do it for you, or no, I won't. My mother's asked me to do stuff before, and I'm like, no. And she gets upset. And sometimes mothers, being mothers, they will try to guilt you. But it amazes me that she hasn't realized that after 40-something years, that when you try to guilt me into something, it just makes me dig my feet in even more, because it makes me angry. Because I get angry because you're trying to do some Jedi mind trick psychological manipulation and tug on my heartstrings and everything else. And I'm just like, okay, now I'm really going to dig in. That's just me. I can't speak for anyone else. But when others don't do the things that you would like for them to do, when you are not pleased with someone exercising their free will as an individual, because as I have always said throughout this entire show, whether it is on Keeping It Real with KC or on My Daily Thoughts, it's come up at least once or twice throughout 80% or more of all of these episodes, is that we are all individuals. And to add on to that, because we are all individuals, we all have free will. We all have our own individual choice. My choice is not your choice, and your choice is not my choice. And when I decide to make a decision, when I decide to make a choice that you don't agree with, it really isn't your place to bring up everything to tug on my heartstrings or to make me feel like, oh, well, I'm making the wrong choice. I was wrong for exercising my free will to do what I felt was right for me as an individual, and vice versa. It isn't right for me, even though you made this choice, whatever choice it may be, it isn't right for me to try and tug on your heartstrings and try to make you feel as if the choice you made while exercising your free will wasn't right, or for somebody else to try and make you feel that way, or for you to try and make someone else feel that way. In my eyes, and again, this is just my opinion. All I can do on this show is give my opinion. I just give things as I personally see them as an individual. So the whole guilt thing is not my thing. Just like when I mentioned on Keeping It Real with KC about should you sleep with someone who's married, and I talked about the different types of relationships, the different types of marriages. If I talk to someone, and I talk to people, not as much as I used to because I'm not as accessible as I once was. But when I was very accessible to people, to have conversations on the phone and things like that, when I would talk to people and they would tell me things, and sometimes about their marriage, some people that I know have open marriages, and that is the thing that they decided to have. When I hear that information, it isn't my place, if I don't agree with them exercising their free will to have an open marriage, to say, well, why would you want to have an open marriage? Don't you want to think about diseases, or don't you want to think about this, or don't you want to think about that? Don't you think that monogamy would be the better thing for you? Isn't it better for everybody around? And going through all of this stuff, trying to guilt them into having a monogamous marriage. It's not my place to push what I want on their free will and try to manipulate them and get them to acquiesce to what I believe a marriage should be. Just like people shouldn't try to guilt you and get you to acquiesce to what they believe, whatever decision they think you should be made. I think I articulated that correct enough, but I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. So that's what I'm talking about, is don't try to guilt people. People have free will. You may not agree with someone's decision. There have been plenty of decisions that people in my orbit have made in their lives involving me and them and possibly other people that I have not agreed with. It's not my place to guilt them into making a different decision. I just roll with it. It's just kind of like, oh, that's the decision they made? All right. Who am I to judge? They have free will. It's their choice. And me guilting them isn't the right way to get the outcome that I would have preferred. Now, if they ask for an opinion, I mean, obviously, you're listening to this or watching this show. I'll always have an opinion if you want to know it. But I always tell people, be careful what you ask me, because if you ask me a question, you'll get an answer, which is usually why people don't always ask me my opinion, unless they're ready for the truth. If they're ready for the truth, then they come to me if they can handle the truth at the time. Because for those who can't handle the truth, they never ask me the direct question, because they know I'll give them the truth. But yeah, for those who have been in my orbit that have made decisions, it's whatever. And you might want to consider, and again, you have free will. This isn't a guilt trip. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm just giving my opinion on things. I'm giving my outlook. It wouldn't hurt to consider, to see how things go, if trying the guilt game is your usual knee-jerk reaction or your usual go-to in your toolbox. It wouldn't hurt to see what results would happen or what the results would be if you took a different approach, or if you just let it roll on off and just write it off as, well, they have free will. They can do what they want to do. They can do what they want to do. Instead of, well, let me see if I can manipulate them and see if I can get them to come around to what I believe it should be. You know? So that's kind of how I look at things. When it comes to guilting people. And that is my daily thought. So, yeah. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting the show. As I said, I got binge listeners. And I see you. I see you. And I appreciate you. And for those who are not binge listeners, but still listen to the podcast, I appreciate you as well. Shout out to the United States, Ireland, and Russia. I don't know who is listening to this podcast in Russia, of all places, even though I was considering learning Russian, which it seems interesting because it's between Russian and Chinese right now. But yeah, it just amazes me how this podcast reaches certain countries and people listen to me just give my opinion, which I have no problem doing. I enjoy giving my opinion and talking about things. But yeah, thank you to everyone, everywhere who listen for your support. I really appreciate it. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. KIRWKC on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook.com/KIRWKC. If you're watching this on YouTube or Dailymotion, don't forget to hit the subscribe button followed by the notification bell on YouTube. And that's it. Until next time, be blessed.